TOA community, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Robert Linkle, trainingtheolderadult.com. Hope you're all doing well. Got my buddy Whiskey in-house with me today. We are bacheloring it. My girls are all out of town, so it's just us fellas. So if you see him wandering around in the background here, we're homeboying it. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ring the bell. Don't miss any of the content we put out. We are going to talk today about social facilitation. It's a big fancy word for trying harder because someone else is present, okay? So let's define that a little bit. Let me start by saying we as fitness professionals, this is literally the whole reason we have a profession, is because people will try harder, number one, when we're around. They need the accountability of knowing I have this fitness routine and this time committed. There's a financial investment, there's a time commitment, someone else is waiting for me, someone is expecting me to show up and to work hard and to try hard. So they have that commitment to this, but then there's also the I don't know what to do or how to do it. So all of that kind of comes in with the, I'm not going to say dependency, but the convenience of having someone else that you can really rely on. Someone that will make sure you are accountable and you show up and you try hard. Hey, Dad's working, chill out. Someone who's trying to make sure you're accountable and you work hard, yes. And then someone else that's gonna help you pick the right programs, be safe, progress in that. But also just simply by being present, okay? So let's go through the definition, and well, there's a definition on the next one. Let me give you my example of the definition, okay? So in college, I was the only athlete in my exercise science class. So anytime we did anything, anytime we did a Bruce protocol test, VO2, ice, water, submerge, anything, any kind of testing evaluation, I was the guy that got picked to do the performance part because I was probably the most athletic person in the room, okay? We're only talking like 16 people, so it wasn't like there were hundreds, but I was the athlete, okay? Hammer thrower, it was obvious that I could do some of the things in there semi-efficiently and coordinated. And so what we did was they said, we want you to go into that office. Okay, this is during a 4-hour class, start of the class. Go into the office, close the door. None of us can see you, none of us can hear you, nothing. Do as many push-ups as you can, okay? And I did like 27 push-ups, right? So then an hour later, time to recover, sent me back into the room, but I had 4 people with me and they all stood around me and they watched. And I ended up doing like 32 push-ups, okay? And so they're like, go to max, go to absolute failure. So I was like, 27. I'm like, that's all I got. So now I'm in the presence of other people. They're all watching me. They don't say anything. They're just watching me, okay? So I do 32 push-ups. Then we take the class, we split the class into 2. One half of the class stands all around me in a circle. The others are on the other side of the room. They can see us, but again, no one's saying anything, okay? So now I have everyone's eyes on me, but not perfectly. And I can't feel anybody's energy because I can't hear them. So I end up doing like 36 or 37 push-ups. And then at the end of class, the very end of class, mind you, I've done 4 or 3 maximum efforts now. They put me on top of the table in front of the entire class. So I'm now elevated, right? All the other ones I was on the floor. I'm now elevated. The entire class has circled around me and they're all screaming and cheering and chanting and they're clapping and they're counting as every push-up. I do 42 or 43 push-ups. So I went from, 26 to 40 or 42. I don't remember, this was 15 years ago, simply by being put into positions where I was more visible, more seen, etc. So fast forward a week, they have all my numbers, right? So now we redo all the tests, but at the same time, there are 3 other people testing as well, okay? So we do the independent one, I do 30 or whatever it is. And then I have 4 people watching me, but next to us, there's another 4 people watching someone else, another 4 people watching someone else, another 4 people watching someone else. So I don't have everyone's eyes, okay? I just have my 4, but I also know that there are other people in the room and they're not looking at me. They're looking at somebody else. Then we split the room again. Okay, and so now I have, we're up on the tables, but there's like 4 of us all doing push-ups at the same time, and everyone's cheering for everybody. But again, I know I'm not the only one doing this performance. I didn't do 42 push-ups, okay? All my numbers were close, but not as good. when all the attention was focused on me, when all the focus was focused on me, and this isn't an ego, I'm not talking about like muy macho kind of a thing. Simply by knowing there's a stressful environment of all these people are here to watch me perform, I have to give a higher output. That is social facilitation. So what happened when there were other people? Well, now the pressure wasn't so great because some of those other people, they might have been looking at the other athletes, right? The other people doing the push-ups. So there wasn't as much pressure because I couldn't guarantee everyone was staring at me. Make sense? And that's kind of how this goes. So there is an anxiety. There is a certain level of anxiety that comes with the first personal training session that you do. You come into the room, you meet your trainer. Hopefully you've done this already ahead of time, and now it's the first official workout. And there's anxiety. I want to do everything great. I want to do everything comfortable. The next one, it's still similar. The next workout, it's still similar. And after like 2 weeks, you start to kind of get comfortable with the person. And then after a couple of months, you're comfortable. After a couple of years, there's still the pressure to show up, the organization, all this. But is your anxiety as high? No, because you're getting comfortable. You're getting used to being around that person. Okay, so that's why in the very beginning, right? And that's why in some facilities too, they'll change trainers. They'll rotate trainers in with different clients or different groups to keep that new feeling of effect of, oh, there's new eyes on me. There's someone new that I have to seek or win approval of, okay? So keep all this in mind when you're thinking about social facilitation of why on every list of, hey, I'm starting a new fitness trend, why is there always get a good workout partner? Everybody notice that? Because what does the workout partner do? Keeps you accountable, helps you with your motivation, helps, all of the things, the social energy. I don't want to look bad in front of another person. I want to try hard. There's usually one partner that's in a little bit better shape, or maybe they're a little stronger, but not as endured. And so depending on what you're doing, one partner will do better than the other, and then they're always chasing. There's one that wants to stay ahead. There's one that wants to catch up, and the pursuit is on. This is very common, and this is how workout partners work well together. If they like each other or they don't like each other, doesn't really matter in the world of performance. What matters is, do they want to catch? Do they want to stay ahead? Okay? So keep all that in mind when we start talking about this article. This one is from 2011. I was going to say 2007. 2011. So it's a bit older, okay? But pretty interesting. What they did here was virtually they put folks, I think there were 14 people, they put on exercise bikes, right? And on these exercise bikes, so think like a spin class, but it's hooked up to a screen where they're on a track and they're able to show performance, how fast they can go, ride a mile or whatever it is. And so they test everybody. They get a base time. And everybody can do, I don't know what the full stats were, but let's just say it was a mile and it took 3 minutes to bike a mile. I don't know what a good number is. I didn't read the whole study. Let's just use that as an example. The numbers are probably off, okay? I don't know how long it takes to bike a mile. So let's say it takes 3 minutes, okay? I'm thinking like it takes 4 minutes to run it if you're amazing, right? If you're one of the greatest runners of all time. So you're on a bike, that's probably faster. So maybe 4 minutes, okay, on a bike. I don't know. So let's say 4 minutes, okay? So I get on the bike, I ride my best effort by myself, I get 4 minutes. But then they retest us, and virtually the computer puts in another person that I can now see with my VR glasses, right? Or on the screen, I can see them, and they're just ahead of me. They're always just ahead. And I can pedal a little harder. I can get ahead of them, and then they go just a little bit ahead, and then they come back, and then they go a little ahead. And I try harder, okay? Because there's a presence of another person. I don't know if that's another virtual gamer. I don't know if that's just a model they put into the game. I don't want to lose to him though. So I try a little harder. I do 350. Now there's 2 or 3 other individuals out there. I can see them all and they all have names on their back. And I can see when they're trying harder, their energy levels on their little monitor go up and down. Oh shit, these are real people now. I've really got to try hard. I try even harder. I get 340. See how this effort works. So now I'm in the peloton. Now there's 100 bikers in there, okay? And I can see all their names and their energies. I do 410. Why? Too many eyes, too many bodies. At some point, your one-on-one feeling, your small group feeling goes away because there's too many bodies in the room. Not enough eyes to watch. You get lost in the crowd. And now that social anxiety, which is good, this is a good anxiety, it helps with performance, it goes away because no one can see me independently unless I'm the guy in the front, okay? And that's the difference between a socially engaged or a socially facilitated group exercise class with 30, 40 people, one instructor, and a semi-private personal training group, 3 people, 1 instructor, right? My eyes are on those 3 people pretty much every second. With 30, I mean, you're lucky if half the time they see eyes on you, okay? It's not a dig, I'm just saying that this is what social facilitation is. Looking at it, if there were 10 coaches in the room to 30 people, I think performance would be different. Make sense? We just don't have, the means to have that many coaches most of the time in most of these classes. So pretty interesting how that performance and that anxiety, kind of goes into help. So from the simplicities of having a workout partner to a small personal training group, having trainers, having events that you train for, even if it's a 5K that you're going to walk, having something and having a purpose to train for gives more purpose, consistency, effort, a timeline. That timeline can push anxiety as well. I've got 8 more weeks. I've got 6 more weeks. Oh man, I've got 4 more weeks. Oh gee, I got to work hard. I only have 2 more weeks. I got 5 days until this event. Everything starts to change energy-wise because the clock is ticking. I'm not going to eat that extra candy or that 8 weeks ago I could have, but not now. It's too close. The time is now. I got to put in my best effort, eat my cleanest, perform my best, think my clearest, sleep the most, hydrate well. These are all components of producing and performing the best you. Then that event is over, social anxiety comes down, and now what? Recover. Maybe I miss a workout or 2. Maybe I don't sleep as much as I should or drink as much. Anxiety goes away. Timeline goes away. That's why you'll meet a lot of people and it's like, you're always training for something because they know that they fall off the tracks if they don't. That's a good thing. Don't hold those people back. Don't tell those people to stop. Don't tell those people to take a rest. Don't tell, you know what you are? If you're doing that, you're the crab in the bucket. I'm sure everybody's heard that analogy. Take 4 or 5 crabs, put them in a bucket. One will try to crawl out. The other ones will grab him and pull him back down. They don't want to be left behind. Rather than all the crabs crabbing their little crab hands together and climbing out, conquering the bucket together, they'd rather all die in the bucket, knowing that none of their buddies made it, right? So don't be a crab in a bucket. You want to be one of those ones that's helping those folks move along. Social facilitation can and does work for everybody. Some, it just works in a negative way. They don't like this pressure. They don't like the eyes on them. You need to know that. You need to know if you're one of those people. I personally do not like to be yelled at. My very first football coach, about you, maggot. Coach, man, when you do this to me, all it makes me want to do is not work hard for you. It makes me want to hurt you, is what it makes me want to do, right? I am not more motivated to work hard. I'm already a hard worker, okay? You can coach me and encourage me to try hard, but to degrade me and talk down to me, that doesn't work. Some people love that. That's why they literally sign up for boot camps, is because they want to have someone yell at them because they know that motivation works for them, okay? It does not work for me. I don't have a problem with authority. I just don't like being yelled at like that. I would rather you come up and whisper in my ear, I don't think you can do this. And I will want to prove you wrong. Or come up and whisper in my ear, I know you can do this. And I will want to prove you right and support you and be proud. But as soon as you start calling me names or talking down to me, I'm not going to try very hard for you, right? It's about respect. It's about effort and energies and who I want to play or work hard for, not necessarily what's actually being said to me. There's plenty of events and courses and self-development things you can go to where you get broken down and yelled at and then they build you back up. Not my kind of thing, but that's what I know about me. What do you know about you? What kind of environment would you thrive in? What kind of support would you need? These are all socially facilitated environments, responses, all different for different folks, okay? All right. Psychological effect, I like this. It's concept relating to the tendency for the presence of other people to improve one's performance. Even they put it in there, like we know it's pretty straightforward and simple, but it's true. Someone else is present, we will try harder. Some of the cool things with this, though, they kind of break it down a little bit more into, the audience effects, the psychological effects, the cognitive effects, the affective effects. These are all components that feed in to what you perceive, what your body takes as motivation and that will transfer to output, and or negative feedback response that will shut down the system. Because we all have on and off switches. We all have things that will fire us up, motivate us, and then other things that will break us down and discourage us to a point where our performance declines. Maybe we don't even want to come anymore. So we have some clients that on a daily basis, they need to know, what am I shooting for? What am I striving for? Others that just getting here was conquering the day. They've made it. Now I'm in Rob's hands. I just take care of me, man. Point me in the right direction. Tell me what color kettlebell. Tell me how many reps. I don't want to think. I'm just so happy to be here. And then we have others. It's like every month I want measurements. Every month I want this. Everybody's different strokes for different folks, different boats for different hopes. Everybody's got a different philosophy on how they want to do this. It all comes back to how are you encouraged and how do you want to be socially facilitated? So I offer it out to you. Tell me what you think. What are your thoughts on this? How do you think you would perform? You could go back to a guy named Norman Triplett. I want to say like 1889, 1898, somewhere right around in there. He had a bunch of cyclists on an indoor track, like Olympic cycling where they're on a track and one rider on a team will do like 8 laps or something. And then the next rider on the team has to take a tag, but the tag, the high five to like pass the baton, is they have to do a lap together, okay? And then rider 1 can go off and rider 2 will stay. They'll do their 8 laps. And then on the 8th lap, their next partner comes out and does a lap with them. They take the baton, the baton, and then they continue. And I think there's 4 of them, something like that, okay? Now, what Norman noticed was as he's working with them doing the timers, typically their first or second lap were their fastest. And they would start to slow down a little bit as they got to lap 8. But what they saw is when the next rider came out with them, their performance went back up, even though they were most tired and most fatigued. This was the initial concept, the initial idea of social facilitation, because another person came onto the track, even though it was their teammate. They wanted to fire up their teammate and set a pace to help them go faster, so they tried harder. Even though they're at the Olympics, they're doing their best or whatever it was, the stakes were high. As soon as the presence of the other person came out, they got a little bit faster. And now they set a rabbit pace for their partner to say, hey, go as fast as you can. I'm giving you everything I got. Here's tag. And then they go tiny bit faster, a little bit slower as they went. Partner would come out, they'd pick back up again. That was the first one, the first present idea of, as far as putting a name to it. This was happening, years and millions of years prior to. From simple, like, your hut's better than my hut. I'm going to build a better one, right? Your shoulders are nicer than my shoulders in bodybuilding. I'm going to do better. All of these things, all of these are the presence of those other individuals and their accomplishments, etc. motivate people to do this. It's all part of it. But as far as like putting a name to it, Norman Triplett, 1889, somewhere around in there. Hope you enjoyed this. Comments, questions, hit me up down below. If not, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.